He's making a lot of noise. Hi, my douchies. Welcome back to the Alchemize podcast. My name is Destiny. I'm your host, and I use the internet as my personal journal where I talk about whatever I want. Today's episode is a little bit different than the rest. Usually I just talk about whatever topic comes up in my mind and I formulate as our conversation progresses. But today I wanted to share an actual journal entry that I had with you guys. One that I wrote down, I think, about a week ago. And I thought the conclusion that I came to at the end was pretty interesting. And I think it could help you guys as much as it helped me. So this is going to be a little bit of a reading sesh, but also me giving you guys some insight and pointers as I'm going. So here it goes. I noticed something interesting yesterday. I was having a conversation with some friends, and the prompt we were discussing was what you would do if someone confessed their love to you, how you would react or how you would handle that situation. Now, one of my friends said that she would be like, "Oh no, not again. Why wouldn't you just be able to preserve the friendship? Why does this keep on happening?" Now, does that sound like a humble brag? Yes, but that's her reality. She is a very beautiful girl, and that's been affirmed to her apparently many times. But what was more interesting to me was my internal shift, my internal reaction to her statement. I felt a certain sense of grief, a longing for a feeling I'd never experienced. When I answered the question, I said I'd be flattered. But where did that contrast in reaction come from? Growing up, I was not seen as desirable. In fact, for a long time, I had internalized experiences that made me feel like I was not the type of girl people have crushes on, or that guys liked. Those beliefs made that my reality for a long time. I had to chase, perform, impress, just to be liked, or feign detachment for crumbs of affection. So when my friend said she'd be borderline annoyed by someone confessing their love for her, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And in that moment, I had a few options. I could either dismiss her comment, and assuming her intentions with that comment, I could feel jealous and resentful for her apparent abundance and experiences in something I've always wished for but could never have. Or I could see the inner child inside me. I could expose the wound she was trying her best to hide and put healing ointment and bandages over it, and console her while I allow her to grieve a past I'll never have. A bunch of guys having crushes on me won't be beneficial to my life as it is now. So realistically, it's not something I desire anymore. Besides, I know better than to allow my ego to take the wheel in this era of my life. But I still felt raw and affected by this conversation because I haven't fully healed that part of me yet. The truth is, I'll never have the experience of being young and enjoying the validation of a ton of boys or men confessing their profound love and devotion for me just for existing. That past doesn't exist. In fact, no past does. And that's okay. That will not be my future either. There's no way I can recreate that desired experience of my younger self. So all there is left to do is to grieve that unrealized version of me and be present with the amazing reality that I do have. And that reality, ironically, has nothing to do with my relationship status. Although I am in a very happy, healthy, and fulfilling relationship with a very amazing, dependable, and intelligent man. But it has to do with the fact that I make sure that I give myself enough love and take the time to see myself so that I can identify these patterns within me and heal them, which makes me proud of myself for figuring this out in the first place. So that was a journal prompt. What's the takeaway from this journal prompt? It's important, first of all, to journal, because if I didn't have the habit of writing down these feelings, I don't think I would have gotten to a place where I can step outside of myself and analyze the situation as I did just now. So that's my first advice. Start journaling if you're not already. And secondly, being able to figure out that my inner child is the one that's grieving was also very profound for me. I remember feeling pretty exhausted after writing this prompt because I feel like there was a literal weight that I took off of myself once I could identify it clearly. And I felt sad for the rest of, for half a day, still kind of processing that feeling. And that's how you know that it was real, you know? That's how you know that it was true shadow work happening there, because it triggered an emotion that I've probably been repressing for a pretty long time. And I could finally let it go because I started acknowledging that it's there. Now, it's not gone. It's not like I let it go and it's gone. It's more like I allowed myself to feel it finally. And so now I can start to process it. And now every time I notice a similar pattern come up, I know exactly where I need to go emotionally to allow myself to let that go. So I think the biggest takeaway for today's episode, short and sweet, is to journal. It is to ask yourself the hard questions. Step outside of yourself so that you don't react instead of analyze. And you don't always have to be monitoring yourself, but it is important to prevent yourself from reacting emotionally, because easily I could have turned this whole situation into a problem, and I would have been going down this spiral of thoughts of, I don't feel beautiful, everything sucks, I'm not worthy. That could have happened. But instead I decided to understand where the root is and start to work on fixing that. And that's the amount of love that I needed, or that's the type of love that I'm working on giving myself more and more of. Instead of reacting emotionally and then being angry at myself for having that reaction in the first place, I just pour love. And as you pour love, you kind of excavate whatever it is that you're trying to hide. Because all emotional reactions that come seemingly out of nowhere are basically just emotional triggers or things that have happened in the past that you've been able to bury for a long time and that are now finally coming up to the surface. So allowing yourself to experience what you've been suppressing and then letting that go, and to reassure your inner self that it's okay to feel these feelings, is deeply healing. And you can only do that with the amount of love that you decide to pour into yourself. So last but not least, give yourself lots and lots of love, especially this week, going into the week, because it's Sunday today. I hope you guys do what as I did today and try to pour lots of love back. So that's the video for today, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you guys next time, next Sunday on the Alchemize podcast. Bye, my douchies.